So the president made a surprise trip to the Middle East, and he went to Afghanistan to visit the troops. Now, nobody knew that he was doing this, okay? So why is it that a reporter, Jessica Kwong at Newsweek, tweeted out that President Trump was spending Thanksgiving tweeting, golfing, and more? Okay, her original tweet was, how is Trump spending Thanksgiving? Tweeting, golfing, and more. Except he didn't. He flew to Afghanistan to surprise the troops. Now, you don't have to be a half-wit to understand why you don't tell everybody that the President of the United States is going to Afghanistan to visit the troops in theater. So that's always going to be secret. It's always a surprise visit. It's never really announced. So anyway, she tweeted that out. Okay, I don't know why she tweeted it out, and then I don't know why she wrote an entire article about it. They're really, there's no rhyme or reason. Okay, so the original headline: how did Trump spend Thanksgiving? Tweeting, golfing, and surprising U.S. troops in Afghanistan. They added that last part. It was just tweeting and golfing. So they've had to update all of that as a result of her writing this whole article about how he was just going to be tweeting and golfing and, horsing around and not really doing anything important, as if the President of the United States wouldn't be allowed to just enjoy a Thanksgiving with his family, which of course he should be allowed to do. But she wrote an entire article about this. Now, none of it was true. So when she found out that he was actually going to Afghanistan, now she tweets this out. Trump headed to Afghanistan to surprise U.S. troops on Thanksgiving, deleting this tweet because it was written before knowing about the president's surprise visit to Afghanistan. An honest mistake. Story has already been updated, as shown in the screenshot. Okay, so you told everybody that you wrote an article about the president just golfing and tweeting on Thanksgiving, and then when you found out that he visited the troops, your correction was, I wrote an entire article attacking the president for tweeting and golfing over Thanksgiving, and I didn't know what he was going to do. Because she didn't have anything. So this has, of course, led many people to go, well, why on earth would you write an article if you then admit in your correction that you didn't know what he was going to do? So you just fabricated this out of thin air. Well, she's been fired. Newsweek fired her. The president actually tweeted out, he's like, I thought Newsweek was out of business. So he's kind of had some fun with this as well. Newsweek fired a reporter who wrote an article saying that President Donald Trump would likely be tweeting and golfing on Thanksgiving, according to a statement. Jessica Kwong, a former Newsweek political reporter covering the Trump administration, don't worry, she'll get a job at CNN here soon, originally titled, How is Trump Spending Thanksgiving? Tweeting, Golfing, and More on Thursday. The article was published at 10:16 a.m., a few hours before news broke that the president was actually in Afghanistan visiting troops. The outlet fired Kwong after the mishap. A spokesperson confirmed all of this to the Daily Caller News Foundation on Friday evening. Newsweek investigated the failures that led to the publication of the inaccurate report that President Trump spent Thanksgiving tweeting and golfing rather than visiting troops in Afghanistan. The story has been corrected, and a journalist responsible has been terminated. We will continue to review our processes and, if required, take further action. For the record, this is like the least egregious mistake or lie that a member of the press has probably made about the president, and yet they all get to keep their jobs, and this young lady's fired. Okay, and I'm not saying that she shouldn't be fired. She made it up. I'm just saying it's interesting with all of the additional things that are far more egregious that have been made up about them. Those people get their jobs completely protected. It is not clear if the editor who helped with the article faced or will face any punishment. Reporters who traveled with the president were allowed to break the news around 2 p.m., according to CNN. After Trump visited Afghanistan, Donald Trump Jr. tweeted calling out Newsweek for the article. The president retweeted his son. Trump has concealed his trip to many. Trump had concealed his trip to many, even White House staff and military personnel who were at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, where the president has spent past holidays, according to CNN. Kwong cited his past years there in her original article. So she's basically saying, because he's gone there previously, that's where he's going this year, and she just pre-published something, I don't know, to probably beat her deadline so she'd go sit down and have Thanksgiving dinner with her own family. But now, of course, she is out of a job for fabricating a story out of thin air. But Again, she doesn't get to just publish to CNN. I would like to remind everybody, Newsweek, I'd like to remind everybody that there's editors in place here. And editors are supposed to go over this stuff and say, well, what's your information for this? It's not on his schedule. And if her information was, well, that's what he's done the past couple of years, and they let that slide, the editor should be fired as well. We have more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.